4x4 Rubik's Cube is super easy to solve. It's almost exactly like the 3x3. There's only a few more algorithms that you may need to know. And if you don't know how to solve the 3x3, I definitely recommend doing that before you go ahead and learn the 4x4, because it will make learning the 4x4 a lot easier. So as you may have noticed already on the 4x4, there's no set centerpiece, single centerpiece, like on the 3x3 where we have just one. On this one, there's actually 4 centerpieces, and you have to construct basically one big centerpiece out of the 4 centerpieces when you're first solving, and then you can move on into pairing up the edges and then solving the whole cube. So the first step, as I mentioned earlier, is to make all the big centerpieces. So I'm going to start with white, and I'm basically going to identify all the white centerpieces that I see around the whole cube. So I have one there, one there, one there, and one there. So let's start with the one that's closest. So let's start with this one, or this one. Either one doesn't really matter. So I'm going to start with this one. So there are a few algorithms that you may need to know, but for the first center, it doesn't matter if you just do that. You don't have to bring it back into its spot because there's no other centers to obscure or like break up. So I notice here that there's one up here, so I can just go ahead and move that. And then this is where it starts getting into algorithms, because now we could obscure this by trying to insert that. It just goes away. So if you have this L shape right here, and you have one that's directly opposite, on the direct opposite face of you, so like let's say I have white here, and where this would generally be yellow on the 3x3, it's not yellow because we haven't constructed it yet, but right here I have one basically facing parallel. So if I have this, I want to hold where I want it to go, just like this. So I want to have a bar on the left and one single centerpiece on the right, and then the one that needs to be inserted up on the top right. And then for the back, I want to have this one up here. So I want to move this centerpiece up here because it needs to go with this one. And then the algorithm is this, 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 and that will insert that centerpiece. So once we have this full white center, we're going to want to then go look around and try to make the yellow. And this is how I generally would start mine. So if there's no yellow already, then we can do a few super simple algorithms. So what I'm going to look for is just one centerpiece. So like here, I have one centerpiece. So I'm going to do that like this. So I'm just going to do an up rotation of 2. And then I'm going to do over and bring that back down so we don't obscure this centerpiece. And that will put one yellow on top. Then after that, I want to put the centerpiece that I already have, I want to put it in the top right position, right here. And I want to move the next one that I have into the top left position, like this. So like, let's say I have one dot here and one dot here that I want to go in any of these spots. I just have to put it in the top left position right here, and then do basically what we just did. So it's this, over, and down, and that will make this bar. Then I'm going to keep looking for another dot. So like here I have one, so I want to put that piece up in the right top, and I want to put this one in the top left, and I want to do that basically same algorithm, and it's just over and over and over. So it's this, over, and down. So that's going to give us that L right there. And then we're going to look for the last one. So this one is exactly the same algorithm. So we want to put the center where we want it to go in the top left, and this one in the top right. And we're just going to do that same algorithm over. And that will pair up the white and yellow. So now it's onto the middle layers, and you can just move these pieces because it's not going to obscure this one or this one. As long as you don't move it this way is fine. It will not do anything to it. So I'm just going to kind of look around and see what center I can already make. So I'm saying that I already have green. And then this is where you have to start doing some more algorithms. So as I showed in the beginning, when you have this L and there's not a green on top or on bottom, and it's directly behind you, you want to put it in the bottom left, and you want to put where it needs to go on the top right. And this algorithm is we're going to do double over and double. So it's very similar. It's very similar to this, except it's just double instead. Okay, so the way I memorized this is when I was learning is orange is always right of blue. And so this was really helpful because sometimes if I did it wrong and I was speed solving, I would run into issues where I would start having to go back and actually refix the corners and then have to repair some edges up, which was took a really long time. It took so much time to redo that and then have to go back. I started averaging like 3 minutes when I did that. It was terrible. Okay, so now I found blue here, and blue is always opposite of green, so I know that, well, blue's supposed to go here. So I noticed that this is up here, so I can just put that there, and this one in the top left, and I can go over with 2 and over down, and that is going to give us the green blue. Okay, so now I noticed that I have orange and red. So this one needs to be red and this one needs to be orange because orange is always right of blue when white's on top. Make sure that's very important, when white's on top only. So here I noticed that I have a bar of orange and a bar of red and a bar of orange and a bar of red. So we're just going to insert one at a time so I can rotate. Okay. So I'm going to rotate the bar of color that I want to be on this side. I'm going to rotate that to the top. So if I had red on the top, that means I want red on this side. If I have orange on the top, I want orange on this side. In this case, I want orange on this side. And then I want to rotate the other bar to the bottom so that you're trying to pair up. So it's basically the same. It's just over 2, up, over 2, and that's going to give us the L, and we can have it just like this. And put this one in the bottom left, and then it's over 2, over 2. And that will pair up all your centers. And remember, if you already have 5 solved, you don't need to worry about the 6th one because it's already going to be solved, just like how when you have 5 sides of the 3x3, you also have 6 sides of the 3x3. Okay, so the next step is to pair up all the edges, because I notice here that I cannot solve the cube without there being actual edges to be able to then reconstruct it. So the first step of making these edges is to make 2 that are directly apart from each other. And what I mean by that is, like, let's take the white blue one of the white blue edges, for example. So let's go around and find the other one. Okay, so I notice it's here. So I have to have them directly opposite of each other, and it doesn't matter what color is facing forward. But in this case, I have white, and if it was like this, let's say it was like this, then those colors don't match, the ones that I'm trying to pair up, so this wouldn't work. So if you once you get this, and this is more intuitive, so once you get this is the algorithm. So it's over 2, up, over, down, over, and then over 2. And that's going to pair up the edges. Now there are a lot of just repeating this in this algorithms because it just takes a really long time to finally pair up it. So there's a lot of just repeating the same algorithm until all of them are completely solved. Okay, so I notice I have the white-green edge, one of them here and one of them here. So I can just move that over and move that up, and that's going to put these with the same color directly parallel of each other. And then I can do the algorithm again. So it's over, up, over, down, and then like that. And that is going to pair up those edges. So basically you just want to keep repeating those algorithms and the steps, and eventually you will solve all of the edge pieces. So after you have paired up all the edges, you're going to want to make the cross just like you do in 3x3. So I can just do this, over 2, and I have the cross. And then you can go on and do however you generally solve the 3x3. In this case, I do CFOP. So I'm gonna do that right now. So everything's really easy for the first 2 layers, or I guess 3. And then you get to the last layer, and you could have something that looks like this. And this is called parity. And what parity is it's kind of like an impossible case on the 3x3 and 2x2, and it happens on bigger cubes like the 4x4, 5x5, and 6x6. So basically there are two types of parity you can get in here. So for one, it's making the cross, and it's when you have 3 of the edge pieces that are facing up and then one that's not. So this algorithm is only for when there's 2 edges that are facing not up along with the cross, and they're facing towards you, so you want to hold it like this. And this algorithm is this, over 2, down, over 2, down, over 2, up, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2. And that will solve the cross, and then you can go on and finish the whole cube. And the last case of parity is this. So it's when you either have edges or corners that aren't in the right spot after the cross is already made, so after the previous parity that I just went over. And so this one, for any of those that need to swap, but it would be impossible for the 3x3 or 2x2. So this algorithm is this. So it's over 2, up 2, over 2, and then we're going to do 2 layers, over 2. And you can either just do this, but personally I choose just to do a double layer. So those are all the steps on how to solve the 4x4 using the beginner method. And if you did all that correctly, then you've solved the 4x4 Rubik's Cube.